So hey everybody, we're back, kind of. We're hanging out and talking tonight, and mostly just for fun, but we figure we'll throw this up on YouTube. So welcome back, Marvel News Desk people. I've got me and Adam and Rhiannon, and we're just chilling out.
We
Guys,
refuse to die.
I, I, I have to ask, have you missed it? And be honest.
I
Um,
have not.
No.
here's yes and here's no. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Okay. I miss talking to you guys, but the grind of the recording and the editing and everything, I'm happy to be done with.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah. I miss talking to you guys, but I kind of enjoy just taking in well, we haven't had a whole lot of media,
Yeah.
but just taking it in and not like having to have feelings about it. Though I still have. I mean, but
so now you guys have gotten a little taste of how it is to make fandom your living and how it actually is pretty bad to just always talk about it all the time.
Yeah, if listeners don't know, Adam, you've like the career change has happened, huh? No more comicbook.com.
No more comicbook.com, man, and I'm legally prohibited from like saying anything.
I was about to ask you, aren't you the tell-all here? Sounds like there's an NDA saying that that's not going to happen.
Oh, there's not an NDA. Well, there's a different NDA, non-disparagement clause.
There's something really funny about I can't talk about it because I have a non-disparagement clause.
Yeah.
Because it
So
says
that's
something about what you might say if you did talk about
yeah. So I mean, read between the lines on that one.
it. Oh, that's
Um,
funny.
yeah, man. I'm back at it's funny. I'm doing what I did when I left to go to CB. So yeah. It's
cool.
crazy working the days. Like I forgot how it is to be on like the same schedule as the rest of the world. Because it
Yeah.
was a pain in the ass trying to podcast because I'm like, well, I can't do this because like it's not on my lunch break.
Yeah.
Or I mean, you two are adults, you work during the day. It's like, yeah, sure you don't want a podcast at 11 a.m.
Well, I could have shuffled it because I kind of set my schedule, but yeah, Rhiannon has a grown-up job.
I breathe
Rhiannon
Congress
works for the Biden administration, so she can't even really podcast.
She doesn't even have a concept of a plan of how to take time off.
once.
Are you monitoring the scenario in the waters and the lightning and the whooshes, or is it a hurricane now?
Oh, that's crazy because I work in like pre-disaster hazard mitigation now. And like I was at headquarters today and I saw TVs on, so I'm vaguely aware that there's a hurricane hitting Louisiana right now. And I care, but like it doesn't impact my day to day really at all.
Yeah, Rhiannon only cares about you if you might get hit by a hurricane, not if you're being actively hit by a hurricane.
I'm working to, what is it, prevent damage to life and property due to disasters that are likely to increase by the impacts of climate change.
Yeah, there you go.
So, oh my gosh. Adam is holding a kitten.
There's just little creatures all over the place at Adam's house.
There is little creatures. We made my dad. There was a little creature dead in the driveway the other day. I'm like,
Huh?
Dad, do you want to come move this or bury it out at the farm? And he just showed up and so this is crazy. So this is actually related. But I was driving through town the other day. If you what are you doing, buddy? If you're wondering what kind of community I live in, I was driving through town, right? And a truck stops right in front of me on the highway. No stop sign, nothing, just pulls out. I mean, it's in town, so we're not going the speed limit, right? We're going, it's a crawl. But anyways, the truck stops. The guy had hit a squirrel. He gets out of his truck, picks a squirrel up out of the road with his hands and throws it in the back of the truck and drives away.
At least he didn't put it in a cooler. I thought that's what you're gonna say is like
He might
pulled
have. I
out
don't know
like an
what's in the back of
igloo.
the truck. So I guess what I'm trying to say is your thought of Northwest Iowa is likely accurate.
Yeah,
Like if you've heard about it before, yeah, it's probably true.
yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know enough of Iowa to have the geographic part of Iowa associated with that thought. But
Oh, I can help you. The Des Moines is sort of in the middle, right?
Kind of, sort of, south middle, yeah.
And that's the only part that has people in it.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
about it.
Well, there's also Iowa City, which is a good time. The best time in Iowa, probably. But
What's the town that's across the border from Omaha?
Council Bluffs, worst city in the state.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like suburban Omaha, which, what can be more boring than Omaha? Suburban Omaha.
It's consistently ranked in like the top 3 of worst Iowa cities.
I mean, there's only 6 cities in the whole state.
Well, it's in the top half, top 50%. That's saying a lot, man.
All right, so
Wait, this has been another good episode of Marvel News Desk.
yeah, we're up to our usual
We're
shenanigans.
like, oh wow. This is what we've been missing.
Yeah, so we had Comic-Con and Deadpool Wolverine came out, and there's D23, and there's been a variety of other little things. I don't know, what's something that's happened in the last 6 months on Marvel that you want to talk about?
Well, I went to Comic-Con and
Oh, yes.
I sat next to one of our dedicated listeners.
What?
No way.
Yes.
Who? Somebody we know?
Yep. I don't know if he commented much, but he still had our podcast up on his Spotify. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's so sweet.
So did he like
Um,
recognize you, or like how did that come up?
oh, we know each other.
Oh,
He was in my Hall H group a couple years ago.
okay, got it.
Um, so he's friend of a friend, but
He's
a
cute.
listener to the podcast. So, so we both won that lottery to get into Deadpool, and he and some other and our mutual friends had held a spot in line because like I was going to just I don't know if you guys heard about the debacle of the Deadpool Wolverine lottery at San Diego.
Didn't they
Essentially,
give out more tickets than they had?
well, I think they gave out as many tickets as they had. They just didn't have a way to check tickets.
Oh, so all kinds of people just cheated their way in.
Yeah, so like all kinds of people just like once they learned that like and there was yeah, it was a mess, but we got it. And so I watched Deadpool and Wolverine in the room with 6,000 fans and Hugh and Ryan and um
What was it? I mean, I assume it was crazy, like just riotous cheering when things happened, or
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a load of fun. It was it was a lot of fun. They gave us popcorn. They gave us the obscene popcorn buckets,
yeah.
the Wolverine popcorn buckets and water, which I thought that was very nice. And yeah, and then they showed us the movie and it was amazing.
Ike Perlmutter really is out of the company. There's no way he would have given water to San Diego Comic-Con Hall H.
Well, what was funny was they handed out like when we were in line, like when once you got through the little security area, they gave you the popcorn bucket with water in it. And it was just like the popcorn bucket, water, and a pen. And like everybody was like, "Oh, this is cool. They gave us the popcorn buckets." And I'm like, "We're seeing the movie." Because it wasn't confirmed that they were showing the movie. I was like, "We're seeing the movie and they're gonna give us popcorn." And they're like, "Oh, there's no way they're gonna pop popcorn for 6,000 people." And I'm like, "There's pre-popped bags of popcorn. Yeah, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny to just, yeah, do all of this and not give you actual popcorn? But yeah, they handed out popcorn, they showed us the movie. It was really awesome. Um, Great time.
Yeah.
Great time. Really great. And then I ended up at the Disney party the next night.
Yeah, I saw pictures of this.
So Disney had a party at Comic-Con for like executives and actors and stuff, and I was there. And the person I was with is affiliated with the Percy Jackson TV show.
Yeah.
So the kids that act in Percy Jackson like came up to us, and they were just like adorable and lovely, like great to meet them, lovely, lovely kids. And one of them had like a young lady with him that he had picked up the night before, that he had met the night before at another party. And they were friends and they were coming. And, she introduced herself. And I was just incredibly embarrassed because I'm there in a Save Daredevil t-shirt. Like, I didn't know I was going to the Disney party. Everybody was fancy but me. I was promised that there would be a lot of people looking. I was like, I had clothes to change into. I packed mascara, but yeah, I'm there like sweaty and gross in my Save Daredevil shirt. But and there was this other kid that was like, "Oh, I like your shirt," and like got to talking to me and found out I was at the Deadpool premiere, and he was like, "How did you like it?" And spoilers, like I was just kind of like, "Yeah, it was good." And he turned and like he was there with his mom, and he's like, "Mom, she didn't like it." And his mom was like the head of Disney streaming or something. Yeah, and
That's
she started, and I
funny.
first like started talking. I was like, no, 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 it was great. It was great. I was just like, and he just goes, shh, she's right there. And I'm like, who? And the young lady that had come with the Percy Jackson kids was Daphne Keene, X-23,
Yeah.
Laura, standing right next to me at the Disney party, did not recognize her.
While you were crap talking her movie. Wow.
Well, luckily, the kid kept me from crap talking it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, did she hear me? Did she not hear me? Did she hear me? Did she not hear me? So I drank some more Disney tequila because there was free tequila at the Disney. So I drank more Disney tequila, and my friend teased me about how Daphne was probably drowning herself in the pool because she heard about my words. And so, like at the very end, I wanted to just sort of do a loop to see if there were any celebrities I recognized. And we go around, and Daphne was there. And I had had tequila at this point. So I went up and we gave each other big hugs and we acted like we were best friends. And I got a picture with her. And she, clearly, if she heard me trash talking her movie, she didn't, she ignored it. And we're
Yeah.
besties.
That's awesome.
So that was me hanging out with X-23 at San Diego Comic Con the day after seeing the movie.
Yeah. So in reality, with Daphne Keene not present, did you like it?
I enjoyed the movie. I give it like 3.5 out of 5 stars. How about that?
Yeah. That's good. After 250 episodes, now creating a star system, I think is a great idea.
So I saw it again with friends and they made me give it a star out of 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I had already given that a lot of thought.
Adam, you saw it finally. Were you a big
yeah, I
fan?
saw it finally 2 months after the fact, and I loved it. The Wesley Snipes cameo is the one I think I might have tried telling you on the last episode of MND.
Oh, okay.
Marvel let us choose between that or Bullseye. They didn't want us to say anything about Blade being in Deadpool, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But no, I loved it. It was silly shenanigans with the multiverse and stuff. I'm beyond the point tired with that stuff that I'm like, whatever, just nothing needs to make sense anymore for me. It's just like if the movie's good, it's good. And I thought the movie was good. The they didn't hold back anything. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5. Um, I have a bunch of thoughts. I think Channing Tatum should probably still stay as Gambit. I think Daphne Keene will still probably be Wolverine in the MCU. Um, yeah, I really liked it. It's the most fun I've had in a Marvel thing in quite some time.
Yeah, that was my big takeaway is like they just wanted it to be fun. And so I think there's something totally okay with a movie that is just enjoyable and just a good time. I think it does nothing to help our concerns of like this multiverse saga has no plot direction and is not going anywhere. And it's going to be impossible for Avengers to feel like the culmination of anything because
Yeah.
it's not like developed in any way. And this being like, oh, hey, this is in the Fox universe and it's got jack squat to do with the MCU, but we're still going to make MCU jokes. Like, I know this is also me like being negative on it. It's just weird to me. Like, I think it's cool that they made a fun movie in the Fox universe, but I also think it's weird that they made their big movie that was going to save the MCU be almost nothing to do with the MCU. But
Yeah, I mean, Caleb, you wrote like a little review on your personal page, and I agreed with like every point there. Like, I thought this was going to clearly show that the Fox universe was dead, or that the Fox universe, like, I thought it was going to tie a bow around something, and it tied a bow around nothing. Nothing.
it actually makes it messier because it's like, oh, hey, here's like you mentioned with Gambit, Adam. Here's a character that wasn't part of the Fox universe that you weren't going to be sad you'll never see again. And now maybe you'll never see him again, but maybe you will see him again, or maybe he'll be the same actor. But and it's like, I mean, it's and we just have gotten used to the fact that like multiverse, it'll just be a whole lot of everything until I don't know. I guess Doctor Doom kills everybody, and then we'll get back to something that has an actual
Yeah.
story.
I mean, at this point, I'm not sold on the idea that the multiverse is actually going to go away. I mean, they've opened up Pandora's box, and why not just let filmmakers tell stories wherever? It's like them bringing back Downey, man. It's just if something reeks of desperation, that casting is that. Um, you said something I was going to touch on, but I already forgot.
I just think it's tough because if you want the Infinity War Endgame thing, the like biggest movie ever, $2.5 billion movie, it can't be just one in like a scattershot, like buckshot of stories. It has to be the culmination of a decade of storytelling. Like that's why that worked so well. And I just have a hard time believing Secret Wars will be anything that big.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh, here's one more point in a constellation like spaghetti soup of stories, you know?
Yeah, I mean, though, I think the only way they can make it bigger than Endgame is do the castings and the cameos that everyone thought Doctor Strange 2 was going to do. At this point, obviously, there's not really a story that's being tied together. That's the thing I was going to bring up. Feige beforehand said that, Deadpool Wolverine is really meaningful for the overarching story going forward, which clearly isn't the case. Um, so story-wise, yeah, I don't think Secret Wars can touch Infinity War and Endgame. But cameo-wise, what we've seen, they kind of dipped their toes in it with Doctor Strange 2 and kind of blew the door off with they landed Chris Evans for Deadpool 3 and kept it under wraps. I don't know between, Snipes as Blade and Chris Evans as Human Torch, I don't know what could be bigger unless you have Tobey Maguire interact with Hugh Jackman, interact with Tom Cruise Iron Man or something, Nick Cage coming back as Ghost Rider.
I think Affleck coming back as Daredevil would be a pretty
Yeah.
big deal just because he's a giant, star.
Right. Yeah, I don't really Lou Ferrigno, maybe. I don't, yeah, I don't, geez, what are you doing?
I think a Halle Berry Storm would be relatively big.
Yeah, that'd be up there. Well, yeah, any X-Men really. I'm surprised we didn't get McKellen and Stewart to reunite somehow. And they better get that done sooner rather than later.
Did you see the thing recently where McKellen was talking about being Gandalf again?
Yeah,
It's like, I'll do it if they can make it before I die.
yeah. So yeah, it's just story because I don't even next year is certainly not the multiverse story. Well, we have Cap 4 and Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four and Blade allegedly. So that's certainly not going to push that saga story forward at all.
I mean, I think the only way it works, if they're building up some kind of like Avengers v Thunderbolts kind of thing, or a thing where the Avengers go off to fight Doom and disappear into the multiverse, and then while they're gone, like the Thunderbolts take over, and like I think they could do some of that Dark Reign kind of thing. Like I think that may be part of it. And I think that Cap could set that up with Thunderbolts, where we see like, oh, Thunderbolt Ross is taking over the country, and it plays off of some of the stuff we saw in Black Panther about the U.S. government getting untrustworthy, and then Thunderbolts has, um, Elaine Bennis and the president like putting together a Thunderbolts team that becomes the de facto Avengers. I mean, I think some of that could build like the subplot to a Secret Wars type thing, but I don't think it's the main plot. But Adam, it sounds like you were not a fan of a Robert Downey Jr. casting. Rhiannon, were you in the room? Were you in Hall H for that?
No, I was sort of sitting outside Hall H, hoping somebody would leave so I could take their seat.
Oh,
Not many people left.
no.
But like when yeah, like I wasn't sad to have missed that. Like I would have, I don't know. I don't know, maybe being in the room, I would have felt the hype and it would have been great. But yeah, like give me something new. Give me something. I mean, even that, like, even all the things that you just said that could happen in Secret Wars, they're bringing back old people. They're just rehashing old hits and rehashing old hits, and then bringing out Robert Downey Jr. Yeah,
And the Russo brothers.
and the Russo brothers. Yes, like we know it'll be a hit. We know it'll be good. So yes, that's fine. We know Spider-Man will be good. We know. I mean, like do it. Be the vanilla ice cream. I'll be over here at least waiting for Daredevil because maybe it'll be something slightly different. But even that's rehashing an old hit.
I do think it's interesting. Like, we ran a podcast through phase 4 and parts of phase 5, and we were like the perfect audience for it because it was like, oh, here's Miss Marvel, a quirky teen story about a Pakistani Muslim young woman. And like, we're probably the only Marvel podcast in the world is like, that's awesome. At least a couple of us, like, where everybody else is, well, why can't we get the big guys? Why can't we get the good stuff? And so, as a podcast that loved the Marvels, loved Miss Marvel, loved Werewolf by Night, was pretty positive on Eternal. Like, when they took weird swings, I think the three of us were more or less there for it. And so it kind of makes sense that now that they're trying to get back and get more traditional, the three of us would be like, no, that's not so exciting.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, I'm really interested in what they do script wise with RDJ. If it's just like, hey, in another universe, it just happens that Doctor Doom looks like Tony Stark, but he's Victor Von Doom and he was raised in Latveria. That is going to be very uninspiring to me. I'm sort of assuming we're getting a world where he's somehow both Doom and Tony Stark or related to Stark, or like Howard Stark had a child with like a Romani woman in, Latveria, and that's how we get a Stark looking dude. Like, I think there's some kind of variation on plot and an alternate Doom that makes it a lot more interesting. But that being said, I'm very uncertain about how I feel about the decision because I don't know if they're going to do that and do something that's really interesting plot wise, or if they're just going to be like, hey, here's RDJ, clap and give us your money. Like, I'm really interested to see if they have a narrative thing behind this, though it feels to me like the Russos do. But
I'm sure they do. And I'm sure in however many years we'll see it and be cool with it. Or maybe not. I mean, like the Russos could strike out. I mean, the Russos went and started their own, like, they're not infallible. They went and started their own company and without RDJ, can they do a hit? Without the Avengers, can they write a hit? Can they direct a hit? Is it? I, Yeah. Let's see. Let's see.
Everything they've made since Avengers Endgame has been a CBS procedural with a massive budget. And CBS procedurals suck. I can say that. Give me back my Paramount Plus.
I didn't hate Gray Man. I thought it was fine. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was terrible.
It was really gray compared to everything else. Like in the golden age of television and streaming, I mean, you got to make something crazy. How do you produce everything everywhere all at once in Gray Man within the span of 2 years? You know,
Yeah. And I did watch, oh, what was it? Was the Citadel? Like
yeah.
they're supposed to turn into a big Amazon multi-sprawling series.
Oh yeah,
That
it's supposed to
was
be.
lame. That was terrible.
It was. I think it still is like a cinematic universe, but it's like international. So like it's like in like if it's in, it's like the series are in their native tongue. If it's in wherever, and it's
Yeah.
supposed to be the cinematic universe that's crazy. But are they still doing that? I think I saw something about how one of the spinoffs or something. Really, I don't know.
I mean, I think if they do the international ones, they can make them cheap. Like if they can throw $10 million at like a Indian production company and make something, Amazon might do that. But the one that they produced last year was just ugh. It was a
Yeah,
trope. The problem is it was so soap opera-y. It was like, oh no, I found out that I'm married to my cousin's best friend's ex-lover or something like I don't know. It was just a lot of garbage like that. It was just
it's
not.
like James Gunn or not James Gunn. It's like James Bond if they actually put feelings behind all the sex.
I do I mean I think one of the big questions are Marcus and McFeely back or just McFeely or just
One of them, McFeely is, I think, Christopher Marcus can't because of a family emergency or family dynamic. I'm assuming his partner said, "Stop living on the Marvel lot around the clock and please do something else with your life. Get rid of all these fucking long boxes, please."
yeah. So, I mean, generally though, I am excited to have Doom over Kang. I mean, like just finally kicking Kang out to the curb, I think is probably positive because I was tired of feeling weird about that whole situation. So,
It is weird that the first Doom probably isn't going to be the Doom, which is kind of I don't know how to feel about that dynamic, because I mean Doom's supposed to be like Thanos level villain.
yeah, but I just think it's the multiverse thing was always going to be that. Like our first
Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic was not the Mr. Fantastic and we got a Professor X that was kind of the Professor X but not really and our first Deadpool and Wolverine or at least not the Wolverine that I think we'll probably have long term in the MCU. Like it's what the Fox stuff
You
is.
do have to give Marvel credit for testing the waters with Krasinski and showing everyone how bad of a Reed Richards he would be before they actually cast him.
In all those presentations, we saw stuff for Fantastic Four, we saw stuff for Thunderbolts, we saw stuff for Captain America: Brave New World. Of the projects we've got coming next year, we saw stuff for Ironheart. I guess we saw stuff for Born Again. I don't know what has piqued your guys' interest. Like what upcoming project has got you excited?
I'm excited for that Born Again show. That looked interesting.
Yeah, you might feel like you had some connection to it, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there again, they're rehashing something that's old, but it was really good, and it still had some stories left to tell. And I'm down with it.
So, as I remember us talking, the D23 trailer was a home run for both of you guys, as far as
That was
which, by
good.
the way, is not officially released, and we cannot. I mean, we technically probably haven't seen it, but if you had seen it, do you think you would have thought that trailer was amazing?
Uh, the Safe Daredevil podcast did a pretty good, thorough description of what happened,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it was really good. Yeah, no, I'm totally. They have Kamala's daddy. They have Papakan.
Yes. Kamala's dad in Daredevil makes me so happy. That's perfect.
There's something came out today that there's no Kamala, which makes me sad. But
Oh, yeah, that doesn't totally surprise me. I don't know tonally how she fits into Daredevil. Like, I feel like her dad could translate better than her, maybe, but
yeah. So yeah, no, that I that's what I'm excited about. Um, yeah, I heard the energy um during the Riri during that part was very low in the room. But
really,
that's just what I heard.
I think it's interesting that I mean, they brought Coogler out, to like try to hype it. So that gave it credibility in my mind. You know what it felt like though to me, and I think this may be on purpose, and it's just may not be for me. It felt a little bit like that Bel Air show they've made. It's like the Fresh Prince dramatic reboot. Like that
Yes.
was the vibe I got from that trailer. Was like, oh, we're like, I don't know, the hills or something. Like we're like a dramatic like, I don't know, young adult drama CW show or something. But
You mean like Runaways?
what'd you say?
You mean like Runaways?
Um, yeah, no, Runaways. That's a good comp. I do think it's got some of that to it. Yeah.
I
So
think the biggest thing out of D23 that we haven't touched on is that Iron Fist lives in the MCU thanks to Black Panther or
that's right.
whatever it's called.
Eyes of Wakanda.
And yeah. So let's just
I
talk about
missed
that
this.
for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I missed this. Tell me more.
The director said that. So, yeah, the director said that there's a character in the series who has a glowing fist, and their superhero name is also about a glowing fist.
Okay.
So the show Rhiannon is an animated show that I think shows us different Wakandan Black Panthers through the ages.
Okay.
And somewhere along the line, one of those Black Panthers will probably meet an Iron Fist from Through the Ages.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I feel like it's kind of doing that like 1000 BC Avengers thing that Jason
Mhm.
kind of did. They're going to kind of bring that in the MCU and they're going to do it animated so that they can build the lore without having to, do live action or whatever.
And Winterbomb says it's like for real MCU canon, sacred timeline, whatever. Speaking
Yeah.
of Iron Fist, should we drop a comic scoop on here? Are you guys didn't read the Iron Fist 50th anniversary special, right?
No, I did not.
Oh. Well, spoilers, Danny Rand is no more. He got killed brutally. He got both of his legs cut off and his arm cut off, and he's dead. But he is returning as Death Fist later sometime.
So
So
like
we'll
a
see.
zombie Iron Fist?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. Iron Fist, but dead. So we'll see. It's Dead Fist or Death Fist, one of those two. So
As you
we'll
described his death, I just imagine him on the ground going, "I'll bite your legs off."
it
Yeah, they
was
wound.
it was really jarring because they did like story, like it was a collection of stories, and like none of the stories really meant anything. They were just like open-ended. Inconsequential, is that a word?
Yeah.
um and then at the end, him and Luke and Jerry Hogarth are drinking, and he dies. He gets killed by Razor Fist. um so yeah, he's coming back as Death Fist sometime in the future.
Yeah.
An MND scoop, pick it up, somebody.
Um, Adam, we didn't mention Muse looks awesome for that D23
He
footage.
looks great. Marvel's doing the no eyes thing because Marvel hates covering people's eyeballs. So it makes sense, but they made it work with that. It's super dark. It's going to be interesting to see how they do that with no Inhumans. But I'm sure they have a perfectly logical explanation for what Muse does. But yeah, Muse looks great. Everyone looks great. The tone looks great. Thoughts to Sandrine Holt for not having a job in the MCU anymore because Vanessa was in there. She looked great. Um, no, it looks super vibey. You know, have we even podcasted since all that stuff went down? We
Uh,
have, right? We talked
since
about the
the
Daredevil
showrunner
change.
was, yeah, mixed, they
Yeah,
changed showrunners and stuff. I think I was really surprised when D'Onofrio suggested like it's gonna be there's scenes like as violent or more violent than the first show.
yeah. He said more violent.
I
Yeah.
know my kiddos have been frustrated because it's like, oh, we can't see Deadpool and Wolverine, and they're now prepping for, oh, we're not going to get to see Daredevil, and if they make Blade, we're probably not going to get to see, like that leaning, and we did Echo with some of them, but not all of them, like that leaning into the adult stuff. I get why Marvel's doing it, but I can tell you they have some of their audience that is very angry at this household.
I do think they got a talking to about the con circuit and what's allowed on spotlight panels and such, perhaps. But just because there were a bunch of articles written all at the same time about various stuff said about Daredevil. But I'm excited, man. Everyone's excited about Daredevil coming back, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So like folks got in trouble for them getting a lot of press over Daredevil and not the other stuff, or
Well, I just think of details and such, just
oh,
over maybe not to say as much stuff in spotlight panels. And maybe more just hold off until Daredevil debuts so they can center the press around that.
okay. Yeah, because like Charlie's been in a con every weekend.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it, you know, but they do it, man. They do these cons and there's no like Charlie's the MCU star to do cons. Like Chris Evans does one like once every other year.
Yeah.
Downey would never be caught dead at a convention.
Like Charlie and Vincent. Well, and they've been pulling in like
Hmm.
John, like Charlie and Vincent have been at a con like every weekend. Sometimes Vincent joins, sometimes he doesn't. But they have even gotten Deborah Ann Wool out one or two, and she rarely does cons. But like when they came to DC, Rosario Dawson joined. Um,
Are her and Cory Booker still dating? Are they still a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know.
I feel like maybe they broke up. Who knows?
Maybe.
Not sure.
I feel like on the movie side, Fantastic Four like aesthetically looks amazing to me. Like I just
Mhm.
love the retro stuff, the costumes, all of that. I think I've most been surprised though about Thunderbolts in that like I think it has a tone and a vibe and a thing it's going for that is just weird for a superhero movie, and I think I'm kind of excited about it. I think there's going to be a lot more in there about like mental health and psychology and what it looks like to be someone who feels alone and undervalued, and like it seems like they're getting a bit more of like an auteur director kind of approach to that instead of just like wham bang blow up explosion stuff. And I just think it's weird. I'm excited for how unusual that movie feels like it's going to be. I feel like it's the since Eternals, it's the thing that looks most not like a blockbuster, but
That's interesting because I thought it looks like nothing. It looks like the most vanilla. What's more vanilla than vanilla ice cream? Like it's not even vanilla ice cream. It's like Neapolitan. You only get a little bit vanilla and two other chocolate, and then
oh,
nobody.
Neapolitan's gross.
What do you mean it's gross? It's everything. Just don't eat the part you don't want.
The strawberry ruins the vanilla and chocolate. Ugh.
Yeah, and that's what Thunderbolt says. It's vanilla ice cream with a little bit of you know.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, it looks different to me, but
Stop calling him Bob. He has a name. Just say Century already. Like, what's the deal? Like, you guys aren't playing coy. It reminds me of remember when Jude Law wasn't Yanrog and then he was Yanrog and all of that shit. What? Just call him Century, guys.
or that teen that's gonna the dude that's gonna be teen
Yeah, just team.
in
Yeah,
Agatha all along, even though we all know it's Billy
yeah,
Kaplan or whatever.
just team. Yeah.
What do you
So
think that,
whatever.
Rhiannon? Billy, Wanda's kid Billy, we're gonna get a
Yeah.
teenage version of an Agatha, and he's credited as teen. And like in interviews, he continues to refer to his character as teen. And we're like, we all know what's going on. Why are we still messing with this, you know?
I have watched so little of the Agatha Press. Like I've seen the trailers, maybe, but
Looks
I'll go
cool.
into it very cold.
I'm
I'll go into it
excited for it.
very just like no idea.
I'm kind of suspicious. I mean, I could be wrong. You know the way WandaVision like used different sitcoms for different episodes? I feel like they're gonna do a different horror genre like each week, like one week will be like an exorcist kind of thing, and the next week will be like a serial killer kind of thing, and the next week might be like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's what's coming when all is said and done. That they're gonna play with tropes again, which I find fun. Also, that Down the Witch's Road song, major earworm quality to that. Like I have I have found myself humming it many, many times, just sitting around doing nothing. You guys doing all right?
Yeah, sorry, I was reading Elon Musk being really creepy.
Oh, you talking about the Taylor Swift tweet?
Yeah, that was gross as hell.
How okay, yeah, we're not on the podcast anymore. How can your response be like, I disagree with you politically, you should sleep with me? Like that's how is that the appropriate response?
Yeah,
Like it's
it's
insane.
it's crazy how silly people get that much money, man. It's bonkers.
You're right up there, Rhiannon.
Gross. So gross.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
MND went woke.
we did.
You guys are just libs.
If
I mean, I
people
think we
want to
went
listen to all this time and didn't see a little bit of that before, that would be
Very surprising.
they would not be paying any attention.
yeah, I think we went woke when we liked Miss Marvel.
That's true. Or we
Like,
thought She-Hulk was fine. Um, all right, let me just think through if there's any other Marvel interesting stuff. We do have a new Spidey director. Daniel Destin Cretton's coming back from Shang-Chi. Um, there was all the Bo DeMayo stuff. Bo DeMayo,
Yeah.
like his firing. I don't know if we want to talk about that, but that was interesting. X-Men 97 came out. We haven't talked about that. I thought that was amazing. Probably the best thing that's happened that we haven't talked about. Trying to think about any other news. Blade's probably never happening. Armor Wars might never be happening. Yeah. Anything else Marvel you guys wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about since we podcast last?
Absolute Power. It's not Marvel, but Absolute Power is one of the best comic events I've ever read. Um, and it looks to be like a major. It's like the Secret Wars. I know DC did Crisis before Secret Wars, but it's like a major resetting point for DC stuff, and it's really good. I mean, it's Mark Waid, so it's really good stuff. And they're doing at their own Ultimate Universe. Have you been keeping up with the Ultimate comics too?
So I'm always behind on my comics.
Yeah.
I have read a little bit. I read the Ultimate Invasion or whatever, like
Hmm.
story ahead, and I have read one or two issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, and maybe that's it now. I haven't quite got to Ultimate X-Men yet. I hear that's very good.
Yeah, it's everything's really good. Ultimate Black Panther is really good. Man, Ultimate Spider-Man's some of Hickman's best work. It's crazy. I've loved it. But anyways, Absolute Power is a really good comic book read. It's almost done. I think there's one issue in the main series left. And then it's done. And then if you guys have seen Absolute Batman, he's just an absolute tank. But
Well, and then in comics, Keepers of the Cosmos got Kickstart funded.
oh, barely, man. Man, Kickstarter is something else at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, it's down for everybody.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're making Keepers of the Cosmos, so we'll release that digitally. Caleb will soon make his debut as a comics writer, right? Or have you
Yeah.
written
No,
have you
yeah. That's fine. Yeah. House of Haunts. Yep.
Yeah, House of Haunts is coming out, so go to haunts.house.com and follow. We're gonna try Zoop for it. So
So legit for Rhiannon and any other listeners, we're doing Zoop, which is like Kickstarter but different because they market better, I guess. Adam says, right?
yes, they like fold in marketing and PR and stuff, and they only have like 5 projects live at any given moment. When the Keepers campaign was on Kickstarter, I think there were 87 projects live all at the same time. So they monitor that and schedule things out and stuff. But that's coming up by the end of the year.
But it means that with Zoop, if you go to what is it?
Haunts.house, yeah.
Haunts.house.com, there's a thing where you can be like, hey, I want to learn more about Zoop
Mhm.
or about this comic. And we have to get like 25 people to like pre-subscribe before it'll go live, right?
Yeah. And we're far past that now.
House.hunts.com doesn't work.
Haunts.house doesn't work.
Neither word first.
Well, just go to the Zoop main page. We're on the zoop.gg. And interesting. I pulled
Okay,
up.
haunts.house, but you guys kept adding a .com at the end.
Oh, it's
Oh,
just house.
yeah. See, so yeah, that's the
Adam.
other thing in my infinite knowledge. The book is titled House of Haunts, but the domain is haunts.house. So just because there's not a dot haunts
Yeah,
domain.
there you go. So haunts, HAUNTS.house. It'll take you there, Meltdown Press, and you can put your email address and say get notified. And we got to have so many people do that before we can launch. So
And Caleb wrote this super demented story that'll make you think so differently of him. Like, this is crazy. A pastor wrote this. This is nuts.
really, I don't think it's that dark. I
No,
mean, it's about
yeah.
it's a
No,
little
it's
bit about
good.
human trafficking. I guess that's not exactly like
Yeah, it balances with all the other stuff that has like no meaning in it, like all the shit I write that's just blood and guts. So,
I
it's
am
all good.
really curious. Like I don't know how to like promote this with people I know because I know a lot of people that want to like support what I do.
Uh,
There's certain people I'm just gonna be like, listen, the content of this, like my story will be mine, but the other stories are other people, and so I just can't
yeah,
tell you.
no,
Yeah,
that's really
will
good,
or will
man.
not be
Yeah,
there.
there's not a single F-bomb in the whole book, I don't think. So that's good. I can't say the same for like decapitations.
Yeah, yeah,
There's a decapitation, but there was a decapitation in Endgame, right? Yeah, like in the
yeah,
first 3 minutes. So yeah. Anyways,
yeah. So this is a dumb story, where it's a dumb story point. So I took a trip out to California back in May, and I downloaded talking about this connects to several things we just talked about. So I downloaded Shogun onto my phone so
yeah.
that I could like watch it on the plane, right? And
Yeah.
and I'm a little nervous on a plane. Like I don't like to watch anything too explicit. Like I don't, because you never know if you have like a 4-year-old like looking over your shoulder, right, in the airplane. Like, and I was in an aisle seat, so like I just wasn't sure how it was gonna go down. So I pull out my phone. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna watch it. And I pull it up, and as I'm pulling it out, the couple next to me pull out, I am not kidding, the largest study Bible I have ever seen in my life. Like it looks like something out of a freaking museum, right? And so they like pull it out, and it's I think they spoke Spanish. It says Santa Biblia on it. So they like pull it out like thump, on top of their tray table and like open it up, and they start like reading and like praying together and like doing their couple Bible study in the airplane. And it pops up and it goes, "The following is rated mature for sexual contents and extreme violence." And I was like, I can't do this because, then like they're going to talk to me and ask me what I do for a living, and they're going to be completely disappointed in me as a person. And so I just turned it off like immediately and went to watching Dumb Money on, I think on the airplane. So it was frustrating.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yes. You guys hear that? My goodness. Sorry, the
No.
cats are very loud.
Well,
My cats have a new toy, and it's very quiet actually. So
is this good for now, guys? You want to
I
talk
posted a
more?
video.
We set? I know bedtime is hitting up for some of us, so
I'm
awkward
good.
silence to end, like Craig Ferguson.
Oh, sorry, my battery's dying.
Okay. Well, that's the universe just telling us it's time to go. We hope you guys enjoyed this. We don't know when we'll do it again if we did, but if you're watching this on our YouTube, here you go. This is what we got. We're putting no effort into it. This has not been edited. We did not plan ahead. As you can tell, yeah, we don't care. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we did. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you guys later.